everyone, and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage. We finally made it to the 1970s!
Woo!
It took us a year to get here.
Oh my gosh, but we did it. We're in the 1970s.
And before we get started on our first movie, we have some quick announcements of how we're changing Animation Pilgrimage.
Yes.
These are hopefully changes for the better. So we looked at our...
Hope you guys are excited about these.
We looked at our general schedule and we've decided, you know what? We can probably do more Animation Pilgrimage in less time. So,
And we've been getting a lot of requests for more Animation Pilgrimage to get through movies faster.
because people want to see us get to the 80s and 90s, the movies that people remember. So what we've decided to do is we are going to actually switch to doing 2 episodes every single week. We'll have one episode come out every Friday, and the other episode will be coming out on... What day did we decide?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, all right. So every Tuesday and Friday will be a new episode of Animation Pilgrimage. On top of that, we're going to try our darndest to make sure that these episodes are only like 15 to 20 minutes long. Keep them shorter, keep them more concise, because we kind of ramble a lot.
Yeah. The one exception to that rule is if we have an episode that we know is going to be a big one, like the Disney episodes tend to be pretty long. If there happens to be an episode that does reach like that 40-minute mark, you know, because we have a lot to say, we're going to let it reach that 40-minute mark. We still want to, you know, cover everything we want to cover, but if an episode
we won't
is
have
that
another
long,
episode that week.
Right. If an episode is that long, it'll be the only episode for that week.
Yeah. So what'll probably happen is we'll do that episode, and then whenever the next episode would happen, we'll just skip it, and then you'll have to wait a week for the next one. Because of editing purposes.
Yep.
But those are the changes. So this means we'll be able to get through the 70s twice as fast, which means it'll probably only take us...
Still probably about a year.
About a year. Just looking at how many movies we've already found.
There's a lot of movies. We've looked through the whole list of the 70s yet. Everything except for 79, right?
Yes, everything except the last year. But that doesn't mean that we haven't... that doesn't mean this is the rock solid, the only movies we're going to find. Because...
Right. Now it's you guys can go, the list is down in the description. You can go look at our list. If you know where we can find some of these other movies that we don't have on our list, be sure to look at the key that's at the top of the list that tells you like what we can find and what we couldn't. You know, feel free to send that to us. You can send that to my email.
No. If you want... this is another new thing. If you have movies that you want to send to us or have found online and have the links for it, you can send that to this email address, which we haven't gotten yet, but this will be the Animation Pilgrimage email address. So this is where you'll want to send all of your stuff for Animation Pilgrimage in the future. This will help us keep it all in one spot instead of people messaging us on Twitter and Discord and 3 different emails.
Yeah.
One email right here. Send everything to this email address.
Yes.
Okay, all of those announcements out of the way.
Let's talk about the movie. So, this is our first film of the 1970s.
And once you know it's 1001 Arabian Nights story once again.
Of course. Of course.
This time we get France's adaptation, and the name of the movie is Aladdin and His Magic Lamp. It's Aladdin, all right.
So, this movie is made by Jean Image, which... looks like Jean Image.
But it's French.
So I'm assuming that's how you would say it. I could be wrong, though. And the only other film we've seen from this person is actually Johnny the Giant Killer!
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is his second film to get a English release. Because if you remember Johnny and the Giant Killer, that movie was made for an English audience. Like, they lip-synced it all in English and brought it over to America, even though it was made in France. And this was a very similar situation here. And apparently this is also the last time this is going to happen.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, they've obviously made a lot of improvements since Johnny the Giant Killer.
Yes, but also it's still not very
not
good
great.
animation.
No. Like, this is probably a fine TV movie for the time. But even then, like, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, but this was released to theaters. So, not great. Super brief story synopsis.
It is Aladdin.
It's Aladdin, so we have an evil wizard guy that pretends to be Aladdin's uncle to get him to go into the cave because only an innocent boy can go into this magical cave, and he goes through many rooms, and eventually he gets the lamp, but then he refuses to give the lamp, so the guy locks him in the cave, and then...
But Aladdin still has the lamp.
Aladdin has the lamp, so he gets out, and he gets lots of magical abilities, and, woos the girl through use of magic.
There's a time skip, because Aladdin starts off as, like, a little boy, and then, like, there's a 7-year time skip or something like that.
He woos the princess's father through the use of gifts, and the evil wizard comes back.
The princess who? How do you say it?
Budabador?
Bedroulbador.
Bedroulbador.
Yes.
Bedroulbador is the name of the princess in this one.
What a name.
He woos Princess Bedroulbador, but the evil wizard comes and gets the lamp, and then he steals the princess and the entire castle and takes it back to Egypt because he's from Egypt this time.
Very bizarre.
Wait.
What?
Sorry, I'm just having sudden flashbacks to Ahmed. Prince Ahmed. Wasn't it the Egyptian wizard in that as well? Or no, the African wizard.
The African wizard.
So it is the same character.
Yeah.
It's just that point is often left out.
Yeah, well, it's so bizarre seeing Aladdin and then seeing the wizard is inside the Sphinx. I'm like,
that was weird.
That's really strange. And who knows, like, maybe that is, like him being specifically from Egypt or something like that is a part of the original story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But, like, I don't associate Aladdin with Egypt.
And then Aladdin actually has a second genie that lives inside his magic ring that
the wizard gave him.
That the wizard gave him near the beginning. So he uses that to get to the wizard and then punch him in the face a lot. He just punches him in the face a lot and wins.
Yeah.
And then he wins.
He wins.
He gets everything he ever wanted.
But
it's the story of Aladdin, except super basic.
Super basic, very short. It was like
an hour long.
An hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
So a pretty painless watch. Actually, I would recommend this one if you're looking for just like a bad movie to put on and laugh at. Like, it's definitely that kind of quality. I think like in the right setting with a good group of friends, like this would be a lot of fun to put on and just be like, oh my gosh, look at the voice acting of this kid. This is terrible. What the heck is even going on with these transitions? The editing is so bizarre, it's pretty laughable at times. Not because like sometimes they are trying to make you laugh with the transition, but you're not laughing with the movie. You're laughing at it. Like, who decided this was okay? Another big problem this movie has is what I like to call nobody told anyone no syndrome. Where, animation's a very collaborative effort, and a lot of times storytelling in animation is just kind of like everybody coming together and throwing in their own gags, their own ideas, that kind of thing. That's why it's really hard to say, like, who's the real story man on an animated film. Because a small thing can have a big impact. And this movie very much so feels like everyone threw in their ideas.
And then nobody cut anything back out.
Yeah, and then nobody told anybody, you know what, I don't think that works for this movie.
So it just kind of does a lot of stuff.
Stays there, and you're like, that probably should have been cut. Apparently this crew is only like 50 people too.
It does feel like a pretty small production, all things considered.
I mean, that's why I don't want to be like too harsh on it, because the only movie we've seen from this group of people was Johnny the Giant Killer. And like I said, this is a big improvement from that. Mm-hmm. And it's also a very small crew, but it's just still not a very good movie. Like, you guys should probably stick to short films and working on like that kind of thing rather than a movie.
Yeah.
Because there's also a lot of reused animation.
Oh, constantly. And sometimes it's like, you guys are reusing animation that I feel like you'd be better off just playing the animation once and then holding the frame. Mm-hmm.
But instead you like play the animation, play it backwards, play the animation again.
Yeah, this movie doesn't hold ever, does it?
It does. It does. It definitely has holds, but they should have used more of them.
Mm-hmm. It's okay to hold. It's okay to use limited animation in a sense of not moving.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot more time was spent reusing animation than just like creating intelligent, limited animation.
Yeah, interesting hold poses. Mm-hmm. There's not very good posing.
Oh yeah, the posing's horrible. That's probably one of my biggest critiques of this film, is that the like, there's this whole sequence where the evil African wizard and Aladdin's mom and Aladdin are all sitting at their table, and they're talking about like, oh,
I'm your uncle
and stuff, and I'm
wink,
here
wink,
to, you know, make Aladdin's life better. And the entire time, the acting is getting cut off by their arms moving in front of their face, and just really, really, really poor pose decisions, where it would be better off if they just had the character sitting fairly still, and just have like a couple of frames where it's like they move back and forth, and then just animate the mouth. Like, that would have saved you a whole lot of time and effort. It would have looked better.
Oh, but Tennille, they don't want to animate mouths in this movie.
That's very true.
Mouths are like 3 frames and
even
teeth
if they
don't
just
open.
did the open close, it would look better.
Oh yeah, but
than their arms constantly going in front of their face and waving around all over the place and reusing the same 3 or 4 animations over and over.
I don't think you're wrong. I just don't think they thought this through.
I just think, yeah, they have their priorities wrong.
They don't have enough experience yet to really realize what is going to look good and what's not.
Yeah. Also, I really don't like the character designs, especially for Aladdin. I like that this film has a kind of UPA style. Mm-hmm. It very much feels like it's trying to be UPA.
Oh, yes. 100%. Uh-huh. Very stylized, very modern.
Like, Johnny the Giant Killer very much had like that Warner look to it, and now this has that UPA style to it, and it just does not. They don't, in both cases, they don't know how to actually use this style to their advantage. Mm-hmm. But there was one piece of animation I did like. And you know exactly what it is.
Well, yeah, because there's only one good piece of animation in this whole movie.
Good as a stretch. It was an enjoyable piece of animation.
They were dancing elephants.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, Aladdin is bringing a whole bunch of gifts to the Sultan, so he can ask for Princess Badroulbador's hand in marriage. And so he brings in, like,
50 white elephants.
Uh-huh. Which mainly just involves a lot of reuse of the same one elephant over and over and over again.
But man, this elephant dancing down the road...
It's pretty good for this movie.
Good.
Pretty good.
Has some unfortunate black stereotypes sitting on its back.
Yeah.
Which don't look good.
Okay, I have a serious question. Who decided that, like, that ring around characters' lips was ever a good design choice? Because, like, as an offensive stereotype, that's one thing. Like, when you see it used in that context, you're like, oh, okay. The person who animated this is an asshole. But you don't just see it in that context.
No.
Like, you see it as, like, no, like, legitimately, this is what these people look like. And I'm like,
no.
but they don't. And this is, like, it's such an ugly design. Why would you do this?
Because, Tennille, it's shorthand for these people have giant monkey lips, which is not okay.
I know.
And is not true.
It just...
And you're not supposed to think they look good because everybody's racist.
It's upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like, of course it is.
I hate seeing it every time I do.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It sucks because not only is it offensive, it just looks bad.
Yeah. It's like, this is not interesting or good looking character design.
Mm-hmm.
On to good things I want to bring up about this movie.
Hey, we brought up the elephant.
Yeah. Other good things, as in things that I haven't seen before.
Uh-huh.
From adaptations of this story.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up the fact that Aladdin has a mom, and the mom actually does things.
I mean, that's usually, like, that's like you got a 50-50 chance with the story of Aladdin.
We haven't seen Mom show up yet in any of the movies we've watched so far.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, and we've watched a lot. So I think that's pretty neat that they actually put the mom in here and she does things.
Like, fall for the evil wizard's trap.
Okay, sure, but like, she's a character that exists in the story and does a few things, like she goes and talks to the Sultan and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. We don't see this very often, and this is definitely a character that existed in the original story.
But Troubadour also has...
No character?
a moment where it's like the Sultan... She's crying because she's like, Dad, don't make me marry someone. I don't want to. And she's crying. And it's like, okay, so they're going to kind of go with this whole don't force girls to marry thing. But he's just like, no, I'm your father and you have to do what I tell you. And so then she meets Aladdin and she stops crying and she's like, well, I guess this is okay.
Oh, I liked you anyway, so I'm okay with marrying you.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, alright, cool.
Aladdin does say something along the lines, too, of like, I hope you can learn to love me.
Yeah.
I'm like, ew, yuck.
Forced marriages are garbage.
I feel gross just thinking about it.
Anyways, yeah. I'd say
that's it.
That's pretty much it. So check it out if you want to watch a silly, goofy movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or just skip it.
Yeah, I mean, either way, this is probably a fun one to watch with friends, but you're not missing a whole lot.
Yep. But hey, that's the first episode of the 70s. Mm-hmm. We're getting started. So
yeah.
Join us back here next time as we watch Attack Number 1, the movie. All I know is it's volleyball.
That's
from Japan.
Amazing. I'm excited. All right. See you then.
For my shiny piece of gold, wouldn't you sell me, my good man?
This silken suit from Borneo, fit for the prince of Hindustan.
How much, Mr. Peddler?